Testing, testing one. Can you not hear it all? Testing, testing.
They are posting the classes right now to the left of the stand. We had a little printer issue. We finally got that fixed, so we'll be getting started here in just a few minutes, but they are posting the classes right now here in this barn, and we'll be ready to get started in just a few minutes. We are getting ready to start, so if you can help us make the announcement back in the barns, we'll be starting in just a few seconds. We're waiting on our paperwork to get here at the announcer stand. As soon as it gets here, we'll be calling for our first breed and first classes to begin.
No, not yet. Not yet. So, steers. Come here. Okay, so get two of the thingies out. Nope. Yeah, heifers first. More steers. Oh, really? Those have to go on the hooks, don't they? Yeah, because they're smaller. Class 1. Okay. Just set those out. There's only 3 classes of steers? I have no idea. That ain't going on. We're gonna get a different one. Yeah, there's only 3 classes of steers. And those are all heifers. No, we can put the heifers on here too, maybe. No, 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 no. We can maybe put the heifers on here too.
All right, I believe we're ready to start this afternoon. We are ready for our breed of Angus, the one class that we'll work through. So if you've got an Angus heifer back there, you can start making your way up toward the show ring. The first call, Class B, Angus heifers.
These are what I'm more excited for. Hey, get a clipboard real quick.
Be working 4 head in this class. Class 1 has 4 entries. The key heifers can be in the holding barn on standby. The one class of key heifers. We are showing Class B Angus heifers.
The reserve that's Hereford.
I think every one of them is. Because they don't have certain numbers.
Yeah. What the heck is that?
Shelby.
Yeah, never heard of that. Yeah, and then
Yeah. Some of these won't be used
Yeah.
because
there's only one.
yeah.
Now we need that little box over there.
I got that in alphabetical order.
This is Angus.
Angus,
So
yes.
it's right. Will you go get that little box over there? Will you give me that little clear one? Okay, we need to keep this right. Keep it over. Keep it over here.
And there's your show. Show me show.
Okay, thank you.
Well, good afternoon. It's sure great to be here in Pittsburgh County, and I think we've got a nice set of 4 Angus heifers to start off with this afternoon. And definitely one you got to wake up and pay attention to what we're going to do here. I don't know that there's necessarily one that just stands out and solidifies herself as the winner, but I do think you got to make the most of the situation that you're in. And for me, it's going to be this young lady in the FFA vest here in front of me to start. And I know that heifer's not perfect, but we study here from the standstill on this profile, and you know she does have the highest quality look in my opinion. She's the longest there in front of her shoulder. She's probably the most feminine in terms of the shape of her head and her neck. Real maternal in terms of the sweep to her rib cage. Her biggest hole is structure, and she needs some more stretch to that stride off those rear two, and I just don't know that there's a heifer in here to combat that actually has a severe advantage structurally, and so that's why I think that heifer needs to go ahead and win this class, excuse me. Young man here directly in front of her is going to be second, and I do think that one probably has a little more reach off of that hind leg. That heifer is more moderate in terms of her kind. Another real good bodied one at that, and I guess for me, from a balance and an attractiveness standpoint, she's a little more out in terms of her shoulder. She's shorter in terms of her neck and crestier there on the top side of that neck, but a nice pair there at the top end of this class. Probably give the structural advantage to the one that's going to be second, but we're going to use that higher quality heifer to win. That one that's going to be third is down here on the far end, and that young man's heifer is sure enough moderate in terms of her kind. She kind of rivals and matches the front end construction of the heifer that wins the class in terms of being real elegant about her head and her neck. You know, that one structurally too I want to be critical of. She needs to be more correct in terms of that rear pastern angle, be squarer from hock to ground when we pull the cattle to lead. The one that rounds out the class is the oldest heifer in the class, if you want to go ahead and look at birth dates, and I think that heifer probably is plenty enough cowy in terms of her body shape and whatnot, but I think from a balance standpoint today, She's the plainest there in the front 1/3 of her body. Probably needs more look and quality to rival the 3 that are in front of her. Let's give those exhibitors a round of applause. Congratulations.
Our placings from the Angus breed: first place, Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA; in second place, Thomas Grapando, Hartshorn FFA; in third place, Jet Baker, Kywall 4-H; in fourth place, Haley Toby, B. Kywall 4-H. Madison also had the breed champion, and Thomas had the reserve breed champion. We are ready for the key heifers into the ring. There will be 2 entries in this class. While we're bringing these heifers in, I'd like to, for the first time today, introduce the judge to you. He is Mr. Ethan Prop. He is from Adair, Oklahoma. He's currently one of the 2 agriculture education instructors at Locust Grove and previously served as a livestock judging coach at the University of Florida. Him and his family, they raise some purebred cattle and commercial cow-calf pairs. Looks like Charolais breed up in the Adair, Oklahoma area. If you would, give him a warm Pittsburgh County welcome to the show barn today.
Nice pair here in our key show, and probably a little easier decision than what we saw in the Angus breed. And I'm going to elect and use this motley-faced heifer to start. Heifer there on the stand still has the advantage from a balance and quality standpoint. Real good fronted, level top, good body type of heifer. Also probably has an advantage structurally as well. Nice heifer to start. Not to take away from the young lady's heifer that's going to be second. That heifer with ringworm there on her face is plenty enough clean frontage. She's moderate in terms of her frame size. You know, that heifer for me needs a shot more body to rival that motley face heifer. She's flatter in terms of her forerib shape. Probably needs to be dropped down in that rear flank as well. Good pair there. Congratulations.
Placings from our key heifers: first place in breed champion, Maggie Cato, B. Savannah FFA. Placing second, Jaylee Kelso Quinton 4-H, will be the reserve breed champion as well. Be moving to the Gelby. Be one class of Gelby, then the Hereford will be on deck.
Real nice single entry here in this Gelby show, and that young man definitely is deserving of a round of applause here ringside on a high-quality female there. Congratulations.
Breed champion belongs to Jet Baker. They'll be from Kywall 4-H. Be starting with Class A Herefords. There'll be one entry in this class. From there, we'll move to the mini Herefords. Would like to remind our exhibitors that if you make the premium sale today, before you leave this afternoon, you are required to have a picture made with your animal. Powerful Designs is set up in the Hopper building. That's the building directly to our south. You need to make sure that you get that done today. They'll be set up directly that you can start taking those photographs here in just a little bit. Stock show today is also being live streamed by Hartshorn Schools is sponsoring or providing the live stream today, and we appreciate that. They've done it the whole show. Our show sponsors: Canadian Valley Telephone Company and Bravado Wireless, McAllister Stockyards, Big V Feeds, Adam True Value and Ag Supply, Advantage Equipment, Miller Office Supply, Sam Wampler's Freedom Ford, Tractor Supply, Hartshorn Feed and Seed, and the Patriot Auto Group. Those are our sponsors. If you would pay off our sponsors with a round of applause for us. Thank you.
Another really nice single entry here. This yearling Hereford heifer here could withstand some competition in this class, I think. The young man's doing a nice job getting her set up. A heifer that's really good in terms of her belly, in terms of forerib and rear flank shape, and then you get in behind her and she's authentic in terms of those things as well. Real stout, muscular type of heifer that still has some femininity about her. Look forward to seeing her back in the drive later on today. Let's congratulate him.
First place and breed champion from the Hereford division would be Parker Irwin, Hartshorn 4-H. We'll be bringing in the mini Hereford class, be Class C. There will be 2 entries in this class. I do have a young man here at the announcer stand that's running for state office. I'm going to give him the mic here in just a second, let him introduce himself and tell you what he's running for.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ty McCorkle, and I proudly represent the Morrison FFA chapter as a candidate for your next state FFA secretary. Thank you.
Nice pair of mini females here in this class. I'm going to start that darker red heifer here up front, and I think she has advantages in several fronts. There on the side, I think she's the better balanced heifer that's cleaner there in her navel. A heifer that's probably more feminine and thinner there on the top side of her neck. I think you step in behind the cattle, and she's set higher and wider there in that pin set. Nice female there. Not to take away from that kind of orange-colored one that's going to be second, one that's real strong there in that top line. The young lady's doing a nice job getting that one stuck. I think as we pull the cattle into motion, though, that one in terms of hip loin junction, she gets a little weaker in that regard. She needs more width and squareness down there at the surface for my taste. Good pair there. Congratulations.
Placing first and breed champion, Paisley Vaughn in the NOLA 4-H. Placing second, Jaylee Kelso, also reserve breed champion. We'll now call for our class of Maine heifers to the show ring. Be 2 entries in this class. Maines to the show ring, please, followed by Shorthorns. Need to be on standby. I would like to remind our exhibitors that there will be no break between the heifer show and the steer show. So as soon as we select our Supreme Reserve Supreme and make sure we got everything lined up for sale order, there will be no break between the heifer show and the steer show. We'll roll right to the steers.
A real nice pair here in this drive, and I think both these heifers bring plenty of quality to the table, and they're both freshly presented, and these two young individuals have definitely put in the time and the effort and at home to be successful. But at the same time, both these heifers are a little different in their type and kind, and depending on who you show them under, will probably dictate which way they get placed. For me, and the type and the kind that I like, the young lady's heifer probably suits me a nickel better today. She's a little longer and more extended in terms of her kind. You study her there in the front 1/3 of her body. She's more feminine in the shape of that head. She's longer in terms of that neck. Heifer probably has a little more throat latch underneath of her jaw than the one right in behind her, but a quality individual there to start. Young man's heifer that's going to be second is a tick more moderate in terms of her frame size, and if that's the style that you like, I'm not going to argue with you. For me, though, she's just more compact in terms of her features. She's shorter about her face and her neck. She's lower to the ground. Heifer that's just not quite as feminine and elegant there from the side. For me, I think both of them are sound enough structurally. I think both of them have enough body and muscle. There's just a tick more elegance and femininity in the young lady's heifer, so we're going to line them up that way today. Congratulations, guys.
Placing first in breed champion, Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA, and second, reserve breed champion, also belongs to Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA. Moving to our shorthorn breed, be two classes, Class A and Class B. Both of those will have single entries. Want to, at this time, recognize the Pittsburgh County Cattlemen's Association. They are putting some money back into the show on the county-raised animals. If the numbers are right, I think it's $250 on 10 after the premium sale lineup. Is that correct? $250 on 10 head, Cattlemen's Association. Then, then $1,000 on the county-raised heifer and $1,000 on the county-raised steer. Let's, if you would, give our Pittsburgh County Cattlemen's Association. That's good dollars, and we appreciate that very much.
Young lady brings us a nice single entry here, and this kind of orange painted heifer has a lot of good to her, I think. Real feminine there in the front 1/3 of her body. She's long and clean in terms of that neck. She's stout in terms of her feature. You might could soften her up just a little bit, give her a little more arch and curvature to that forerib, but a nice single entry here. Look forward to seeing her back shortly. Congratulations.
Placing first from Class A, that was Jaylee Kelso, Quentin 4-H. We'll now move to Class B, a single entry.
Another nice single entry here in the Shorthorn show, and young lady brings us a nice heifer here. I think one there on the standstill that should catch your eye from a balance and femininity standpoint, really stout in terms of her feature, and she's plenty hairy too. I think that one might could use a shot more power and a shot more frame size for what I like. But depending on how you're going to mate that one going into the future, there's a lot of different avenues you can take. Congratulations there.
First place, Class B, that belongs to Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA. We will select our breed, reserve breed champion at this time.
Well, a real good pair of class winners here in this breed drive, and they're somewhat similar age. They're both going to be yearlings this spring. You got the yellow heifer that's an April, and the molly-faced heifer that's a January. So, I don't know that you need to have a lot of discussion in terms of that, but I do think they both bring plenty of good to the table, and kind of like we talked about in that last class, depending on how you want to make these things going into the future, could really dictate, the quality of progeny that they might have in the future. The yellow heifer from the side there is real good looking heifer that's long and attractive in her front 1/3. We talked about her being stout enough in terms of her feature. That one probably needs a shot more fore-rib shape for me, and maybe soften her up and give her a little more maternal look like that motley-faced heifer has in behind her. But I do think you study those cattle from behind, and she's stouter and square there out of the upper part of her hip. They track away from you, and she's got more width and squareness there, so you need to consider that, I think. The motley-faced heifer, like we said, probably more maternal in terms of her rib cage. I like the way that one flows from shoulder into forerib when you step in behind her. Long neck, probably not the most attractive headed one I've seen all day, but a nice quality female there that I think probably could use a shot more width, realistically, compared to an ideal when you get in behind her. But a good pair there, just depending on what you prioritize, dictates the pair. For me, I like the maternal look of the motley face. She'll be your champion. The orange heifer will be reserved. Congratulations.
Breed champion belongs to Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA. Reserve breed champion, Jaylee Kelso, be Quentin 4-H. We'll now move to our Simmental breed. Calling for Class A will be a single entry, followed by Class B will be 2 in that class. We'll be bringing the Simmental heifers in the ring.
Another real nice single entry as we start off this Simmental breed, and a heifer that I think has the foundation and the parts to be really good on down the road. That heifer's plenty green in terms of her condition today, but you study that one in terms of front end construction, hind leg set, in terms of her build, I think the parts and pieces are there. So go home and keep feeding on that one, young lady. I think you'll continue to be proud of that one on down the road. Congratulations.
First place, Class A, belongs to Jaylee Kelso, Quentin 4-H. We'll now move to Class B, 2 entries in this class.
Another nice pair here, and I definitely think a pair that offers some trade-offs and differences in terms of type and kind. I do like the young man's heifer to go ahead and win the pair today. I think that heifer probably has a few more ESTs today. She's the higher performing option. She has more arc and curvature to that rib cage. She's definitely the power cow of the pair when you step in behind her and study her from a dimension and a stoutness standpoint. You know, that one is a little plain there in terms of her throat latch. She's a little out in terms of her shoulder. Her hind leg's not perfect. I do think she's probably sound enough to go ahead and win. I like her power and stoutness. Young lady's heifer that's going to be second is probably a nickel more feminine there in terms of her neck and that throat latch. You know, I wish that heifer would tie that neck in higher into the base or the top of that shoulder, excuse me. You know, and I think you study that one, and it looks like her hind leg set is correct, and she does have some bend to that hog, but she really doesn't flex it when she picks him up and sets him down. Kind of could be a little deceiving there, perhaps, but a nice heifer there. Probably needs a shot more power to rival the one that's going to win. Congratulations.
Placing first from Class B, first place Bryce Brown, Savannah FFA. In second place, Hadley Thornton, Savannah FFA. Will now be showing for our breed and reserve breed champion, representing Class A, Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H, representing Class B, Bryce Brown, Savannah FFA.
So we get out of here for the champion Simmental heifer. I think both of our class winners bring good to the table, and we talked about the elegance and femininity of the one that won the first class. In terms of that head, neck, and shoulder, she should definitely catch your eye in terms of that. We talked about her being a little green in terms of her condition, and I think we continue to feed on that one, and she's one I think that could play on down the road. In that second class, I thought both of those were really close. We started with the one that probably had a shot more power and broodiness perhaps today. That young man's heifer is going to be champion, and the one that was second in that class is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Our breed champion belongs to Bryce Brown, Savannah FFA. Reserve breed champion belongs to Hadley Thornton, Savannah FFA. We'll be moving to Class 1 of our commercial heifers. There will be 3 classes that we'll work through.
a nice trio to start off the commercial division. And we're going to start this young man solid black heifer here to my far left. And she's definitely the calliest one of the trio. She has the most performance and weight per day of age. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't know any birth dates. But that heifer definitely is more attractive. She's more feminine. She's the female of the group. I think the next two get pretty close. And I do think today the black and white heifer is a tick more show ring ready. I think that heifer is more comfortable out here, and that's not necessarily why she goes second. But you study that one in terms of hip and hind leg structure. She's more correct. She's sounder. A heifer that has a nice balanced look to her there from the side. For me, that heifer in terms of front end construction compared to the one right in behind her that won, she's plainer about that head. She's not as attractive in terms of the way she ties into the top of that neck. And I just want to elevate that one more than anything. Nice pair there at the top. Young man, solid black heifer that's going to round out, I think, is one. Just, keep putting in the time and effort and at home on that one. I think that one has some length and some extension and some attractiveness. The fact that she wants to fight the halter today probably exaggerates her hind leg a little bit for me. I wish she would set down with some more athleticism and comfort perhaps, but get her a little more comfortable, and that'll probably come. Good trio there. Congratulations.
Our placings from Class 1. First place, Jet Baker, Kywall 4-H. Placing second, Charlie Roberts, Savannah 4-H. In third place, Hayden Toby, Kywall 4-H. We'll now move to Class 2. Looks like there are 3 entries in this class.
Another nice trio here, and if you've been following along ringside, you probably know that I like them to be females first, and the one in this trio that hits that mark is the birthmark-faced heifer here to the far right. That heifer has the advantage structurally in the trio. Heifer that has the look and balance probably that fits the female bill there. She probably needs a shot more power, but That's definitely the best cow prospect in my opinion. The Smoky heifer is going to be second. She's definitely powerful and muscular and big-bodied and all those types of things, but we need to change her structurally to rival that one that wins. She's more outright in terms of that shoulder. She's not as comfortable in terms of her hip and hind leg construction, but a power one there for sure. The black heifer in the middle is going to round out the trio, and she's definitely sounder than the one I just used for second, but I do think that one needs more body. She needs to be softer and more maternal in terms of her look to rival either of those heifers on either end of her. Congratulations there.
Placing first in that class, Myers Metters, Kiowa FFA. In second place, Racy Jackson, Savannah FFA. In third place, Brody Roberts, Savannah 4-H. Now move to class 3 of the commercials. Heifers, there looks like there's 4 entries in this class, class 3 of the commercials. As we're working this last class of commercials, let me remind all the commercial heifer exhibitors, after we select the champion and reserve champion from the commercials, we'll be calling all the commercials. They'll be coming back in to select for our sale lineup for the commercial. So if you've got a commercial, you need to be on standby. We'll call you back in just a few minutes as we line up that sale order.
Well, a tough one to end on, I think, in this commercial drive. And I think if you had these 4 heifers in a judging contest, I think you might cut it about 1, 1, and 1. Maybe a little heavier than that. I don't know. I think there's quite a bit of give and take here, and I'll tell you what I see about each one of them individually before I tell you how I like them. And start off with that white-legged one there up front. And that heifer probably puts as many good things together as any of them in this class. You study that one on the standstill, and she's got some balance and some attractiveness to her. You pull her into motion, and she probably is the soundest structurally in terms of hind leg set and hock angle and those types of things. A nice heifer there. You know, she the most attractive one we've seen all day? Probably not, but a nice one there. The other white-legged one right in there behind her, that blaze-faced heifer there is a good-bodied one, a nice profiling type of heifer. She's a little upright in terms of that shoulder. I'd like to lay that tail head in her a nickel smoother, but that's the other one that's probably acceptable in terms of structure. I think you get in behind those 2 heifers, and she probably gives up a shot of power maybe to the one right there in front of her. That heifer's got a tick more condition on her as well, but a nice one there. The really nice profiling heifers on the standstill are these 2 solid black ones, and a young man's heifer here right in front of me. Real strong there in that top line, lays that tail head in her smooth, a heifer that ties that neck in fairly high under her shoulder. You know, that one's a little cresty there on the top side of her neck. Probably has a nickel bit more throat latch underneath of her jaw there. And I think structurally is where you need to be critical of that one, is she wants to short stride herself off both ends of that skeleton, just needs to have more athleticism. Real big-bodied, high-performing, maternal appearing heifer here on the standstill on the end. A heifer you like in terms of having a feminine shape to that head, a good angle in terms of the way her neck goes into that shoulder. You know, she's a little short in that neck, and she's got a nickel bit of chest maybe, but a nice profiling heifer there. That's another one, though, that structurally, you know, you study her there standing, and you don't think she would probably move the way that she does. That heifer needs to be more correct in terms of hock and rear pastern angle, needs more squareness, needs more comfort there. So you put all those things together, and, you know, it comes down to what you prioritize, and for me, it's structure foremost and first always in my book, and so that probably dictates the way I line these 4 up, and so they're gonna stay the way that they stand. The white-legged heifer here up front is gonna win. The blaze-face heifer is gonna be second. The young man's solid black heifer is gonna be third, and the young lady in yellow is gonna be fourth. Congratulations.
We'll be showing for commercial champion. Placings from that class. First place belongs to Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. In second place, Grace Webster, Savannah FFA. In third place, Parker Irwin, Hartshorn 4-H. In fourth place, Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA. As we bring back in to select our champion and reserve champion commercial from Class 1, we'll need Jet Baker, Kywall 4-H, representing Class 2, Myers Metters, Kywall FFA, and from Class 3, Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. We will be selecting our champion and reserve champion from the commercials. Once again, after we select this champion, a reserve champion, we will be calling commercials back in to line them up real quick to do that. After we do that, we'll select our supreme and reserve supreme champions today.
Let's put our hands together for these commercial heifer exhibitors if we could. Real nice job, and I think we have 3 real nice class winners out here represented. And to be brief, we started off with a real nice cow prospect there out of Class 1. The young man's got a female there that's sound and good-bellied and still has some balance to her there from the side. You know, that one front end-wise is a little plainer fronted perhaps. I think the shape of her head's fine, but she's a little short maybe in that neck. Probably could use a shot more bone, but in terms of build and body and all the basics they need to be good cows, I think she covers those pretty well. One that won the second class was the sounder structured option of that trio, and that birthmark-faced heifer is going to make a nice cow, I think. Maternal there in terms of the sweep of her rib. That one for me is just a little plain maybe. She doesn't tie her neck in real high into the point of that shoulder. I think she's athletic in terms of her step, but the structure and bend of that hind leg is just not super attractive. And I think, you know, that may be hard to kind of understand maybe, but I think the more of these things you see, you know, those real good hind-legged ones are not only sound, but they're really attractive in the way that hind leg's built. And I don't know that she quite has that hind leg to her. Going to make a nice cow, though, I think. And then that one that won the last class was sure enough the most challenging class probably we saw all day. And, you know, that one's really stout in terms of her features. She was the soundest structured one in that lineup. I think this one and this lineup, we pull her out here, and she wants to get a little off in terms of that top line for me. She wants to bow in that hock just a nickel. That's being real critical, though. Heifer that's maybe a little plainer in terms of the bridge of her nose and in her skull, but a nice type of heifer there that's real stout. Should make a nice cow as well. So you just kind of got to pick your poison here in this lineup. The one that suits my taste the most is the one that wins Class 1. That'll be your champion commercial.
Our champion, Jet Baker, Kiowa FFA from Class 1. We'll need Charlie Roberts back in the ring as we select our reserve champion.
So we bring that second in from that first class, that black and white heifer. We talked about being stout and hairy and having some balance to her. You know, that heifer's a little plain in terms of the shape of her head maybe, and probably doesn't have the femininity of the one we just used. I do think the second best heifer in this lineup is the one that won Class 3. Congratulations, young lady.
Reserve champion belongs to Jaylee Kelso. That will be Quentin 4-H. We need in the ring Grace Webster, Class 3 from Savannah FFA. We've got to line these heifers up, so we need Grace Webster, Class 3, Savannah FFA, back in the ring, please. We're going to need Racy Jackson from Class 2. Racy Jackson from Class 2, Savannah FFA, into the ring. Parker Irwin into the ring from Class 3. Need Parker Irwin from Class 3. We need Maggie Cato from Class 3 into the ring. Maggie Cato, Class 3 into the ring. Hayden Toby, Kywall 4-H, Class 1. We'll need you in the ring. Hayden Toby, Kywall 4-H, Class 1. Hayden Toby, Class 1, Kywall 4-H. Let's give our heifer exhibitor, commercial heifer exhibitors, a round of applause as they leave the ring. We are ready for our breed champions to come back into the ring. We'll be selecting reserve or supreme and reserve supreme champion heifer for the Pittsburgh County Junior Livestock Show. We'll be picking 6 heifers for the premium sale, 3 alternates, and then we'll be selecting those for the Pittsburgh County Cattlemen's Money as well. So we'll be lining up, looks like about 16 head that will line up. If you had a breed champion, you need to be making your way close to the ring. We'll start bringing them in as soon as we kind of get them lined up. Representing the Angus breed, we're going to need Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA into the ring. Representing the Key breed, Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA. Representing the Gelvy breed, Jet Baker, Kywall 4-H. Representing the Hereford breed, Parker Irwin, Hartshorn 4-H. Representing the mini Herefords, Paisley Vaughn, Indianola 4-H. Representing the Maine will be Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA. Representing the Shorthorn breed will be Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA. Representing the Simmental breed, Bryce Brown, Savannah FFA. And representing the commercials will be Jet Baker, Kywall 4-H. If we've got 9 head in the ring, that would make the pot right. If you would, these are your champion heifers. If you would give these kids a round of applause as we get ready to select our Supreme and Reserve Supreme champion.
Let's give all these heifer exhibitors a round of applause ringside if we could. Really a nice set of cattle from top to bottom, and I've got to judge a few of these counties this spring, and I've been pretty fortunate that a lot of them have had a lot of really good cattle, and today is no exception to that. And unfortunately, it seems like our numbers on some of these county fairs have started to dwindle a little bit, which is unfortunate, I think, but the quality still remains, and this today is no exception to that. A tremendous set of cattle and exhibitors out here, and I think, we've got some more stuff to do today with steers and showmanship and whatnot, and I do think it's important, that you evaluate these cattle for what they are. I'm not an ear tag looker. I don't like that. I get on my soapbox on that kind of stuff quite a bit, and I don't have a very big platform to stand on, but I don't know if you guys keep up with some of the stuff that gets put on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but Ashley Judge, who's I'd say a friend of mine, probably. She was the assistant coach at OSU, and I judged there. Her and her husband judged Iowa Beef Expo this last weekend, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to her Grand Drive speech, I would take some time to listen to that. I think she makes some really good points about our industry that not only good but also negative. And I've had the opportunity to start having a few cow sales of my own, and like I said, I don't have a big name, and we're just starting out and trying to have fun and do things the right way. And I do take a lot of pride in trying to do things the right way. And I tell people who put stuff in my cell that, we try to stick to HIT, which is honesty, integrity, and transparency. And we need more of that in this industry, in my opinion, not only in terms of keeping these cattle honest in terms of what age they actually are, keeping them honest in terms of their condition. I definitely don't want to get them too fat, in my opinion. And everybody likes different types of things, I think, in terms of how they sort their cattle. I try to pick the kind that I like and the kind that I like to have around my place at home. And I think those are things we need to think about. Just because you spend a bunch of money on one doesn't mean you should deserve to win a show. I think the best one should win the show. And we need people that think like that judge big cow shows. And you can spend as much money as you want on this deal, and you do that, then it adds a lot of pressure as an exhibitor, as a breeder, as a judge. If you spend a bunch of money, you kind of expect to win, right? And I don't think that's always the case, and I think it's important to have transparency, and pick the best cattle, pick the best animal, not the best breeder, not the best showman, but the best animal. And so my hat's off to you guys. Good luck in your future endeavors. I'll go show you the 6 that I like. How many we're picking? 6? 6, okay. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations.
Champion, your Supreme Champion, Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA. We'll need for select Reserve Supreme Champion, Madison Griffin, McAllister FFA, Reserve Breed Champion Maine into the ring as we select our Reserve Supreme Champion. We need that second Reserve Breed Champion Maine into the ring. Okay, we're ready to go again. Need Jaylee Kelso into the ring. Everybody just stay where you're at. Need Chelsea Kelso, the key, into the ring. Need Trey Grappando for the Angus to come into the ring. Yes. Yep, main's empty. So need Thomas Grappando into the ring with the Angus. We can take the Shorthorn out. Shorthorn can go out. Need Jaylee Kelso Shorthorn into the ring. So representing the Angus, we need Thomas Grappando, Jaylee Kelso with the key. Jet Baker needs to stay in with the Gelby. Parker Irwin with the Hereford. Paisley Vaughn needs to stay in with the mini Hereford. Jaylee Kelso needs to come in with the Shorthorn. Bryce Brown needs to stay in with the Scimitar, and Jet Baker with the commercial. So that's who we need in the ring. The pot is still right. Yep, Jet can take his commercial out. Jet can take his commercial heifer out as well. We'll need Jaylee Kelso's commercial into the ring. Jaylee Kelso's commercial will need to come into the ring. So we need Jaylee Kelso's commercial into the ring. Pot is right. J. Lee's Key can come out, as well as the commercial can come out. So I need Myers Metters, Kywall FFA with the commercial to come in. Myers Metters, Kywall FFA with the commercial. Should have 4 head in the ring to select from. This is the 6th spot. This is the final spot. And then after this, we'll select 10. Haley Toby needs to come in with the Angus. Haley Toby with the Angus Kywall 4H. Haley Toby, Kywall 4H with the Angus. Hadley Thornton, Savannah with the Scimitar needs to come into the ring. Hadley Thornton, Savannah FFA, need your Scimitar in the ring. Hadley Thornton, Savannah FFA with the Scimitar. Grace Webster, Savannah FFA with the commercial. Need Grace Webster, Savannah FFA with the commercial heifer. Once that heifer goes out, the pot is right. Parker Irwin, Hartshorn 4-H. He's already in. Okay. Charlie Roberts, Savannah 4-H with a commercial. Charlie Roberts, Savannah 4-H with a commercial. I'd also like to say that we have, through this process, we've got our Supreme Champion County raised heifer. That belongs to Maggie Cato, Savannah FFA with the key heifer. And then the reserve county raised heifer belongs to, that's it. Yep, got it. Your pot is still right once that mini goes out. Need Racy Jackson, Savannah FFA with a commercial. Racy Jackson, Savannah FFA with a commercial. Racy Jackson, Savannah FFA with a commercial. All right, we can line them up from there. Let's give all of our heifer exhibitors a round of applause as they leave the ring this afternoon. Once we let the dust settle and get the arena clear, we'll be ready to start with our steer show. If you've got a Class 1 steer, you can make your way right outside the holding area. Class 1 steers, first call. Class 1 steers need to be in the holding area. Class 1B, looks like there are 5 entries in this class. We are showing Class 1 of our market steers. They'll weigh from 935 pounds all the way up to 1,180 pounds. Be 5 head in this class, Class 1 steers.
Nice way to start off our steer show, and obviously we got a lot of variants out here, not only in terms of type and kind, but also in terms of weight. And so I think for me, though, the steer that puts the most good things together is this smoky painted steer that's circling. I think you get in behind the cattle, and he has as much muscle shape and dimension up high as any of them. You know, he might could use a shot more shape in the lower part of his quarter and stifle there, but a muscular type of steer that's stout in terms of his feature, probably sound enough structurally. You know, that one maybe is off from a balance standpoint a little bit, and the reason that is he's so long necked that he needs to be just a little longer hipped maybe to kind of compensate for that, but a nice steer to go ahead and start there. I think the next two between second and third get really close, and we've got some differences in terms of type and kind there. The Hereford steer is probably the one that I want to put second. I think he has a slight structure advantage over the Motley Face steer that's going to be third. Another muscular type of steer that has some balance and look and extension. I think compared to the steer we started, he's obviously taller in terms of his frame. He's shallower in terms of his flank, and he's probably further away from a terminal endpoint from a finish standpoint than the one we just talked about. That Motley Face steer there that's going to be third, another good balance type of steer there from the side. He's got more depth to that rear flank than the Hereford steer. That one's a little more upright in terms of his shoulder, a little shorter in terms of his neck. He's a frailer bone type of steer that's probably not as comfortable in that rear pastern, but that's being real critical of a nice calf there to be third. The little black and white steer that's going to be next is moderate in terms of his frame size. He's good bodied. He's probably been real easy feeding. You know, he needs more performance. He needs more size and muscle to rival those three steers that we just talked about. And then the one that's going to round out the class, he probably has more muscle than the one I just used in front of him. You know, he's probably the furthest away from a terminal endpoint today. He's a clean neck type of steer that's probably just the thinnest in terms of his finish. Good class there. Congratulations.
Placing first from Class 1 of our market steers, Thomas Grapando, Hartshorn FFA. In second place, Swaylin Buff, Savannah 4-H. In third place, Macy Bain, Kiowa FFA. In fourth place, Grace Webster, Savannah FFA. Placing fifth, Dakota Buff, Savannah 4-H. We'll now move to Class 2 of our market steers. There will be 5 entries in this class. They will weigh from 1,217 pounds to 1,275 pounds. Class 2. Remind the steer exhibitors that once we work through and select our classes and grand and reserve grand champion from our class winners, we will call you back in for sale lineup. So make sure you have all steers on standby for us. They need to be handy as we work through the lineup for the premium sale.
Another real nice set of steers here, and some give and take from top to bottom. I do think the steer that's the most complete today is this kind of Hereford marked one right here in front of me. That steer is as heavy muscled as any of them in this class. He's got plenty of dimension there behind his shoulder, and particularly out of his hip into his quarter. I think where he holds the advantage over the steer that's going to be second today is structurally, and that's particularly in his hind leg. He's looser there in that spine. He's more comfortable with his reach off of his hock. Now, you know, that one there that I'm going to use to win is towing out there up front just a little bit, and he's a little plain there about his head, but I do think that's the best market steer in the class. The black steer down there on the end is going to be second, and that's another muscular, good body type of steer. I do think the biggest difference between those two is structurally. We pull him into motion, and this steer is a little shorter in his neck. He's a little more upright in his shoulder, and with that, he gets a little tighter in his spine and a little more restricted off his rear too. And that's being real critical of a nice black steer to be second. That kind of pretty dark red one down there on the end is going to be third, and that's the other one that kind of fits the mold from a muscularity standpoint in this lineup. He's big-topped and thick-ended. He's just a little off from a balance standpoint today. He's a lower-fronted steer that's just a little uncoordinated off those rear two. Want to make him a little sounder structurally. The white-faced black steer is going to be next, and he probably is a little better balanced and a little more proportional than the red steer we just talked about. He's kind of a short neck type of steer that's frailer in terms of his bone work, and he just doesn't have the muscle that those steers in front of him have today. The yellow steer that's the thinnest finish today is kind of is plenty youthful in terms of his look. He's long and extended. That steer needs not only more muscle, but also more cover, I think, to make a play in this class. Congratulations.
We'll be moving to Class 3. Look like there are 4 entries in this class. They'll weigh from 1,331 pounds to 1,396. There will be 4 entries in this class. Placing first from Class 2, Rayleigh D. Grafton-Freed, first place. Second place, Hayden Toby, Kywall 4-H. In third place, Hayden Toby, Kywall 4-H. Fourth place, Molly Bain, Kywall FFA. In fifth place, Brody Roberts, Savannah 4-H.
Well, a real nice class of steers to end the day on for sure, and I do think that there's some give and take in both the top pair and the bottom pair of this class. For me, though, the white-bellied steer here is going to win, and that one is unrivaled in this lineup from a structure standpoint. I mean, you start at the ground on that one. He's real good-footed. He's sound. He's flexible. He's good balance there, and still yet has enough muscle. You know, if I'm going to be critical of that guy, you could clean him up in his sheath just a little bit. And I think he could probably use a shot more fill, perhaps, just to kind of open him up in terms of his belly just a little bit. You know, maybe we're trying to manipulate where we want him to weigh at, perhaps. But I really think he probably needs a little more belly. But I think that one's awfully nice. The young lady here is going to be second with the solid black steer. And that's the other one that from a build standpoint is real nice. He's big-footed. He's big-boned. He's muscular. You know, that steer for me is a little plainer in the front one-third of his body. He's not as smooth in terms of that shoulder. You know, I think more than anything, young lady, as we pull him into motion, really work on getting that head up, because if you lead him around with his head down, it kind of takes away from the quality look that steer's got. That's a nice calf there to be second. I think after that, it gets real close. And I guess the one that's probably just a little bit better and a touch more practical is the young lady's steer, and that one's going to be third. You know, I think that one from a finish standpoint is probably more on time today. He's modern in terms of his frame. He's a little better in terms of his shoulder angle, and a steer that still yet has enough muscle. Now, he doesn't have enough style and pizzazz to rival those two that just beat him, but a nice meat and potato steer there to be third. Young man that's going to round out, that steer is a little longer and more extended than the one we just talked about. He's probably a little more attractive fronted. You know, that steer is probably the shallowest in terms of his rear flank. He's a steer that gets a little upright in that rear pastern, and he probably needs a shot more lower quarter maybe, but a nice calf there to be fourth. Congratulations, guys.
Our placings from Class 3, first place, Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. In second place, Haley Toby, Kywall 4-H. In third place, Grace Webster, Savannah FFA. In fourth place, Jacob McBride, McAllister FFA. We'll now select our grand champion market steer. Representing Class 1 will be Thomas Grapando, Hartshorn FFA. Representing Class 2, Rayleigh DeGraffin Reed, Savannah 4-H. Representing Class 3, Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. These will be the three that we use to select our grand and reserve grand champion. Once we select grand and reserve grand champion, you need to have all of our market steers ready to come back in for sell lineup. We'll be selecting that real quick. We'll be selecting those. Then we will move at the end of the afternoon with our cattle show. We'll move to our showmanship contest. We're going to start this afternoon with the senior division, grades 10th, 11th, and 12th, followed by the intermediate division, grades 7th, 8th, and 9th, and we'll conclude with the junior division, grades 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. That will be after we select our premium sale lineup.
Well, let's put our hands together for these steer exhibitors ringside if we could. Real nice set of cattle from top to bottom. And to be brief, we started off with a real nice smoke steer out of Class 1. And, you know, he was the most muscular one in that class. And you appreciate the cutability and leanness that he's got out here in this lineup. We talked about how long and attractive fronted he was. You know, he could be a little longer and out of that hip. And I think structurally he probably sets third in this lineup in terms of squareness from hock to ground, but a nice calf there. The red steer that won the second class was the most complete one in that lineup. I got ran over the other day, you follow, so I'm a little gun shy. The red and white steer in that class, he was the one that had the advantage structurally. He was looser in that spine, he was leveler out of that hip, and more correct in terms of hind leg structure. Now, I think if we go next level on that one and maybe compare him to the guy that sits right behind him, he's plainer there in the front 1/3 of that body. We talked about him toeing out just a little bit up front, and he just needs more show ring comfort, I guess. He's a little stubborn today, doesn't want to lead very good, and that really does take away from it, especially if you go down there to OYE and you got 15 really good ones in your class. If they're not, you know, where they need to be from that standpoint, it can really take away from their look in a hurry, but a nice calf there nonetheless. Then that brings us to that white-bellied one, and that one sure enough catches my eye, and, you know, I like cattle that are good built and sound and flexible, and he's definitely that. Good balance and muscular enough. Like I said, he's a little flat in terms of that body shape and forerib, and I guess my advice, I haven't played the steer game in quite a while, but I'd figure out where he looks right at from that feel and body standpoint, and then just go with that weight, because him being a little flatter maybe, you know, there might be a place where a judge might want to be a little critical of him, but I think that's an awfully nice calf there, young lady. You're going to have our champion steer today. Congratulations.
Your grand champion steer belongs to Jaylee Kelso, Quentin 4-H. We'll need Haley Toby from Class 3 into the ring as we select a reserve grand champion.
So bring that steer back in here out of that last class. I definitely don't think he takes anything away from the table from a quality standpoint. And I think you could make a case for any one of these three steers in this lineup, depending on what you prioritize. You know, personally, as far as like the build and structure and skeleton of the steer that we use, he probably most falls in line with that. The steer that's red and white there in front of him probably matches the muscularity and hip shape and whatnot of the steer we just used. So, and there's definitely a lot of look and attractiveness down there in our lightweight calf too. So I think it just kind of depends on what you want to prioritize and where you want to pick your poison. I guess for me, the steer that follows best is that Angus steer, or Angus appearing steer there out of Class 3. She'll be reserved. Congratulations.
Reserve grand champion belongs to Haley Toby, Kywall 4-H. Need Grace Webster from Class 3 into the ring. You guys can hold those in the ring for a few minutes. Grace Webster, Savannah FFA from Class 3 in the ring. We'll be selecting our cell lineup at this time. Need Molly Bain, Kywall FFA, Class 2. Molly Bain, Kywall FFA, Class 2. Oh, is that Haley? Haley, that was Haley. I need Hayden Toby. I'm sorry. Hayden Toby from Class 2. Hayden Toby from Class 2 is what I need. Be Kywall 4-H. Hayden Toby. So Class 1 will need Thomas Gerpando. Class 2, Hayden Toby. Class 3, Grace Webster. I would tell you that our Grand Champion County race steer belongs to Rayleigh DeGraffenreid from Savannah 4-H. Congratulations on having the Grand Champion County race steer. Should have Thomas Gerpando, Hayden Toby, and Grace Webster. I believe the pot is right. Molly Bain, Kiowa FFA Class 2, please. Molly Bain, Kiowa FFA Class 2. Need Swaylyn Buff, Savannah 4-H Class 1. Swaylyn Buff, Savannah 4-H Class 1. Brody Roberts, Savannah 4-H Class 2. Brody Roberts, Savannah FFA or 4-H Class 2. Jacob McBride, McAllister FFA Class 3. Jacob McBride, McAllister FFA Class 3. Macy Bain, Kiowa FFA Class 1. Macy Bain, Kiowa FFA Class 1. And your pot is right. You're good to go. Dakota Buff, Class 1. Dakota Buff, Class 1, Savannah 4-H. Dakota Buff, Class 1. All right, if you will, let's pay off our steer exhibitors with a round of applause as they leave the ring. As soon as the ring is cleared, we're going to go to our showmanship contest. We're going to start with the senior division, be grades 10th, 11th, and 12th. Senior division, grades 10th, 11th, and 12th, followed by our intermediate division, grades 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we'll conclude this afternoon with our junior division, grades 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Senior division, grades 10th, 11th, and 12th. We'll call for you in just a moment to come back to the show ring as we will start our showmanship contest in our beef division. This is the senior division coming in, senior division. Any other seniors? Last call for senior division in the showmanship, grades 10th, 11th, and 12th. Last call. Intermediate division, need to get it on your mind. You need to be lined up outside of the show ring. If you're going to show intermediate, you'll be coming in next, grades 7th, 8th, and 9th. And we'll conclude with the junior divisions, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Let's give these three young ladies a round of applause if we could. Really nice job. I think there's a few things we could all work on from a showmanship standpoint, and like we always say, showmanship comes down to personal preference. So one judge might tell you one thing and you change that, then the next guy might not like it, so or gal. So don't want to be prejudiced there. Really nice job there, young ladies. This young lady down here on the end is going to be your champion senior showman. Congratulations.
Your champion senior showmanship winner, Madison Griffin. I believe she's McAllister FFA. Congratulations. As soon as they clear the ring, we'll be bringing in the intermediate division, grades 7th, 8th, and 9th. We are showing the intermediate division in the showmanship contest. After we select our intermediate division winner, we'll move to the junior division, grades 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Let's give these intermediates a round of applause real quick if we could. Another nice job from top to bottom. I do think the biggest thing for me is being able to get those cattle set up and parked as quickly and as efficiently as you can to try to give that judge the best look, and also being here ready to go when we start. You know, I don't know what the situation is back there. We're probably coming from all different directions, and that's fine. I get that. Just something to think about and chew on for future reference. So put all that together, though, and the young man up here with the Angus heifer does the best job. He'll be your champion intermediate.
And our champion intermediate division, Thomas Grapando, will be from Hartshorn FFA. Congratulations. We will move to our, once the ring is cleared, we'll move to our junior division, grades 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We'll be ready for junior division, grades 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Well, let's put our hands together for this set of junior exhibitors. Really nice job once again for sure, and like I said earlier, just getting them parked and presented as quickly and as routinely as you can makes a big difference. Using as much as this ring as you can, and there's one individual who just turned the corner and went straight for the end, and that's sure enough something to think about and to see. So best of luck to you guys on down the road with your future shows. Young lady with that short horn is going to be your champion junior. Congratulations.
And our junior champion is Jaylee Kelso, from Quinton 4-H. Congratulations. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause again as they leave the ring. .415. We are going to start the all-around showmanship at 4:15, all-around showmanship. Show ring at this time. Once all the students get in the ring, I'll introduce them to you. Senior division.
Where do you want me to start? Wherever you would like.
We've got them all in the arena. Let me introduce them to you. Representing the goat division is Twine Palmer from Kiowa FFA. Representing the sheep division, Jolie King, Hartshorn FFA. Representing the swine division, Rayleigh Spears, Hartshorn FFA. And representing the cattle division, Madison Griffin McAllister FFA. Would you give these students a round of applause for being in the all-around showmanship? We're going to make our first switch at this time. We're ready to make a switch. We're ready to make another switch. We'll let them switch back to their original animal they began with.
Well, let's give these seniors a round of applause real quick if we could. Real nice job for sure, and all four of these guys are doing an exceptional job, and it looks like the rest of the species shows were really good because the quality out here represented, not only animal-wise but student-wise, is really good. So, you know, I haven't judge very many of these before. I guess with my profession, I get to dabble a little bit in all these species, being an ag teacher and whatnot. So I did go through there at the last and asked them what their favorite FFA memory has been. I just kind of see how they communicate, what they had to say, I guess. So anyhow, really nice job for sure. Look forward to working with the juniors as well as the intermediates. I think the individual that did the best job across species was the young lady with the hog over here. She'll be your champion.
Your champion senior division all-around showman is Rayleigh Spears, Hartshorn, FFA. We are ready to bring our intermediate division in. These are students that are in grades 7th, 8th, and 9th. The intermediate division, once they get into the arena, I will recognize them or introduce them to you as well. Mr. Hamilton, you're a little old for this. Let me introduce these students to you. Representing the GOAT division is Jay Sparks from Hartshorn FFA. Representing the sheep division is Allie Johnson of Hartshorn FFA. Representing the cattle division, Thomas Gerpando, Hartshorn FFA. And representing the swine division will also be Thomas Gerpando, Hartshorn FFA. If you would give these exhibitors a round of applause for making it to the arena today to compete for all-around showmanship. Go ahead and make a switch at this time. We are ready to go ahead and make another switch at this time. We're ready to make a switch. You guys can go back to your original.
Well, let's give these intermediates a round of applause if we could. Real nice job, once again, just like our seniors, and awfully a neat deal here on this round robin showmanship. I don't know very many counties that do this, but it's just another opportunity for these kids to get out here and show off their hard work and win an award that's a little different. I'm sure there's a lot of bragging rights that goes on around here when it comes down to who wins this round robin deal. So for me, the individual that did the best job across the board is the young man down here with the goat. He'll be your champion intermediate.
Your champion intermediate division winner, Jay Sparks, Hartshorn FFA. Congratulations. Once the arena is clear, we'll bring in our junior division. Let me introduce these students to you. Representing the swine division is Blair Bear, Hartshorn 4-H. Representing the goat division is Parker Irwin, Hartshorn 4-H. And representing the cattle division is Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. Let's give these students a round of applause for being here this afternoon as well. We'll go ahead and make a switch at this time. Go ahead and make a switch. You guys can go back to your original animal at this time.
Let's give these juniors a round of applause real quick. Once again, really, really nice job here. And I'll say one thing, and I'm kind of hesitant to say this because I'm the last person that needs to preach because I'm not perfect by no means, but I'm really nervous about saying this, so it probably needs to be said. And it's nothing really bad. It's just something that's been on my mind today. Was driving down here and drove down 69, obviously, and drove by a couple of truck stops, and it said diesel, $4, a couple of them. I thought, ooh, that's a little hairy. And then I got to thinking, that probably has something to do with this Ukraine deal, which I'm not trying to make this political by any means. And then it just got me thinking, like, what's this country going to look like in 10 years, 15 years? These guys are 9, 10, and 11. When they're high school seniors, kind of scary to think about a little bit. I'm not married. I don't have any kids yet. I'm several years away probably from having any kids out here competing like this. And so I'm pretty big on music. And this song came on. And I just I got Apple Music the other day, and that thing is awesome. I should have got that a long time ago. And this Casting Crowns song came on called The Well. And it's kind of an older song. I don't know if it was ever on the radio or not, and I'm not trying to tell anybody how they should believe or anything like that, but, that song goes back to John chapter 4 and the woman at the well and everything, and it just got me, it just stopped me in my tracks, and basically it was God telling me, hey, I've got this. You just need to let go and do what you need to do and take it a day at a time and just have faith. I'm the type of person who, I like things done a certain way. I like to handle my own business, and I'm kind of a control freak, maybe, so to speak. And so letting go like that is hard sometimes for me personally. And I think we got a lot of really good kids out here, and it's just kind of the Aggie mindset just to truck on, right? Go to shows, put these kids in positions to be successful, raise them right, put them out in the real world so they can be successful, and we need more of that. And people ask me all the time, my dad's a veterinarian, and, everybody always said, you're going to go to vet school and take over your dad's practice and this, that, and the other, and I always get asked, well, why didn't you do that? Well, it's for these kids, man. Like, we need people that are in positions, and I'm not saying I'm a good role model by any means because I'm not the best. There's plenty of better ag teachers across the state and in the country besides me, but we need people in those positions that are doing things the right way and teaching these kids the right things, right? And all I got to say is God bless, pray for our country, and this young lady with the short horns, you're champion junior.
And our champion junior division is Jaylee Kelso, Quinton 4-H. Congratulations. Let's give all these kids one last round of applause today as they leave arena one final time this afternoon.